Hello, how are you? I am just off the back of watching episode 6 of series 1 of Doctor Who, Rogue. And what an episode that is. I'm so delighted that I can talk to you about it while it's still relevant this week, because I had more time to watch it, thankfully, as it aired. Which is a very welcome change. And what an episode, by the way. I don't think we're going to be getting any bad ones for the rest of the series. I predicted that at the end of the last episode, and I think this was one of, personally, my weakest of the series, but I still really enjoyed it. I'd rate it a solid 6 or 7 out of 10. It just doesn't quite compare to the outstanding moments that we've had before. But again, I really enjoyed it, and I'm really interested to know what you think as well. So yeah, I can't wait to talk to you about it. As the overall plot, I really liked with the introduction of the character Rogue, and obviously set in Regency England. I thought the costumes and the setting was absolutely fantastic. It really shows how many people work to put this whole thing together, and it's with opportunities and stories like this where they can really just show off, and they can be unchained and just left to their own devices to just show off their talents, and it really shows. It's absolutely wonderful to see. Jonathan Groff, I thought he was brilliant. I'll be honest, considering how big of an actor he apparently is, I'd not heard of him. I don't know if he's super famous. But yeah, I was really impressed with him. His character I really like. It was obviously kind of a Captain Jack character, but not quite. And at first it took me a bit of time, to be honest, to get accustomed to the kind of romantic element with the Doctor. Obviously, I know that's probably going to upset loads of people who are just homophobic. And we do not care for them. There's no place for that in this show. It's far more progressive than that. But yeah, it just felt very quick for me and very sudden. But then I watched Unleashed, which I'm absolutely loving, by the way. More on that later. But I think Russell said a line that just made me warm to the idea more, where he kind of said, the Doctor's met his equal. So it kind of just creates this playing field to flirt and kind of have a deeper connection with someone that he can't normally have with a companion or, a human. Because with Rogue, they've kind of had very similar experiences, and their goals and aspirations are very similar, despite their different routes that they go down to achieve them. So I found that really interesting, and I think on rewatch I'm going to enjoy that element of the story a lot more. Because it just took me a bit of time to wrap my head around it at first. But by the end of the episode I was sold, to be honest. So again, credit to Russell and credit to Ncuti and Jonathan, because their performances were spellbounding, to be honest. Yeah, their chemistry was insane. The dance scene, I absolutely loved the way the lights went down. Okay, it was a bit melodramatic, but you know what? It's a drama, so deal with it. And obviously they had some really emotional moments talking about the people that they've lost. So yeah, but by that point I was already sold, to be honest, because it just really emphasised the deeper connection that they could have. So yeah, I found that really powerful. And just while I've still got it in my head, I want to talk about Unleashed, because I know my thoughts are just all over the place, but I've literally just watched the episode, so I'm just, talking to you about whatever the hell I like, and I encourage you to do the same. But yeah, the presenter, Stephen Powell, I hadn't heard of him before this, and he is absolutely perfect for the role. His humour, I just love, and it was so established from day one. He just settled into it straight away. I don't know where they found him, but whoever decided to hire him, all credit to you, because he's absolutely perfect for the job. The interviews are wonderful. He just knows when to sit back and listen, and it just allows us to learn so much. And I am a sucker for behind the scenes stuff, so that's perfect for me. And I love learning about all of the people that you never really hear about, and their jobs and how much really goes into making the show. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving that. Also, the number of sneak peeks we get, I just love all the exclusive content that we get from like every aspect of the universe without giving too much away. Like, you feel as a fan so rewarded for loyalty, and basically the more content you consume, the more you'll get back. Because like we're getting next time trailers, we're getting exclusive clips from Russell T Davies, teasers, next time trailer on Unleashed, a clip from the podcast, which, yeah, I am struggling with the podcast actually, because the new presenters, I just can't get on board with. I'm still listening and I'm still trying to give them time and the benefit of the doubt, but their chemistry just isn't blowing me away. Their insights aren't blowing me away. Their guests aren't. Yeah, I'm struggling with it a bit more, to be honest, but I'm still trying to listen. Yeah, back to what I was saying. All these exclusive clips, I just love how they choose to basically just pick them from the first 5 minutes of the episode. So before the episode's aired, you feel like you're getting so much exclusive content, and you feel like you already know so much about the episode. And at first, I don't know if anyone else felt this, but I was worried that we were getting too much. Which is such a welcome change from the Chibnall era, where we got, we barely knew the title like weeks before the episode aired. It was crazy. But yeah, in this new era, I was kind of worried that we were getting too much and we were getting too many spoilers. And then the episode started airing, and you'd kind of realise that, oh wait, we're only in the first 5 minutes, and I recognised the 3, exclusive clips that I got from all of that extra content. So yeah, there's so much left of the story to enjoy and discover, and it doesn't give too much away at all. So I just really love the way that they're handling that. But yeah, back to this episode. The music as well. The music was incredible. Obviously, the more powerful moments, I feel like Murray Gold just, nails that every time. Nothing new. But the take on doing modern pop music with a string quartet, that was a brave call, but I kind of love it. What do you think? Are you here for it? It was a really bold call, but I think I kind of just admire it, to be honest. I think I'd have to rewatch it again to kind of determine whether it works, whether if it wasn't such a bold call, if I'd like it. But right now I'm kind of just admiring their bravery, to be honest, and enjoying the decision itself, as opposed to the music. But yeah, I'd love to know what you think, but I'm going to have to rewatch and kind of listen with a new perspective on that, because on the first watch it was just shocking, to be honest. Like, my ears pricked, and I was like, oh my god, but what is going on? Because obviously it's such a big clash, isn't it? You don't expect it, but you recognise it. So yeah, that was funny. Oh, speaking of humour, the Doctor's dialogue in this was absolute gold. When he was in that spaceship, I know people are probably going to be pissed off again, or when are they not, about the Kylie Minogue song in the spaceship where the Doctor's kind of paralysed. But to me, that is just typical Doctor, no matter the incarnation. You know, the Doctor wins so many of his battles, like not with weapons or with a big speech, but just by wearing his enemies down. You know what I mean? Like, he just pisses them off, he just annoys them to the point where they just give up and they're just so fed up of him talking, you know? Yeah, I just thought that was typical Doctor behaviour. I thought that was absolutely perfect. And then it completely shifted when we get the incredibly dramatic moment when Ruby dies, or, dies. When he asks for the lifespan of the shapeshifters, and Rogue says 600 years, and the Doctor goes, "Good, that's a hell of a lot of suffering." Oh, that sends chills down the spine. That really put me in the mind of Capaldi, to be honest. That felt like such a Stephen Moffat 12th Doctor line. It was terrifying, seeing the Doctor in those positions. And the creatures that I want to talk about, sorry, I've been rambling for so long and I've not even mentioned the monsters or, Ruby's death or anything. I'm just so passionate about the show, I could talk about it forever. As I'm sure you can relate to. But yeah, the creatures, I do like them. I love the idea. I love their look, but I think they could have been executed better. I think the corpses look remarkable. It amazes me how many times Doctor Who must have had to create corpses, and that they still manage to think of new and innovative ways to make them look terrifying. And they really pulled it off this episode. I was obsessed with how they looked. And the bird masks were amazing. The only thing is, I wish they made more of the kind of animalistic aspect, because for me it very much looked like humans in human clothes with bird masks, and they were incredible masks and I love them, but I feel like we could have made more of a transition from the human to the bird, maybe with the talons coming out of the fingers of the gloves, or feathers poking out from the dresses and things, so that you'd have like tufts of feathers poking out here and there to create an edgier look. I think that's what I'd be going for. Because for me, what made the creatures terrifying, and I did find them terrifying, I think they were really scary, which is great. But I think the reason that they were creepy were because of the actors. I think they were absolutely remarkable, and I think some of their performances were terrifying, and the way they just went for it, and they were unhinged, and they just did not hold back. I think that's what really made it for me. Well, I think if they made it more of the kind of beastly side of the aesthetic, I think that would have really hammered home the kind of terrifying aspect. And then, yeah, maybe after that, if the transitions were kind of more what we had, because I think the sudden transition when Emily Beckett was her name, I think, when she transitioned into the bird after that conversation with Ruby one-to-one, that was really terrifying, because it was sudden and it was quick. So I really liked that. And when they transform outside in front of the Doctor and Rogue, I think that worked really well. But yeah, I think maybe if the first initial reveal was a bit slower and extreme, and we could kind of see all the details a bit more, I'd have liked that. I'd love to know if you agree, or if you like how it was done, or if you just hated the look overall. I'd be really interested. But yeah, and the other thing I wanted to talk about was the ending, where, well, initially we find out that Ruby's dead, with the flashback scene of the Doctor promising to her mother that he's going to keep her safe, which we saw in the trailers, and obviously we just knew that some shit was gonna go down. Yeah, that was really powerful. And I know people have kind of been saying that how much the Doctor cries in this new era and how much how emotional this incarnation is. But to be honest, I think that's perfect for his arc, having just come off the back of the therapy Doctor being the 14th Doctor, kind of overcoming all that trauma, and now he's much more in an emotionally open state. So yeah, I appreciate that aspect of the character, and I also appreciate the fact that a lot of the moments where we've seen him cry, they're bloody worth crying about. You know, he's been through some harrowing experiences already, this Doctor, so I don't blame him at all. And so yeah, I think the way the writing develops and the way that Ncuti performs it, even though he does cry a lot, I'm just with him in every moment, to be honest, and I can really feel it. If I didn't feel it, I would agree with the mass opinion that it may be a bit too much. But at the moment, I don't think it is at all. I think it's very well done. And then, of course, we get that brilliant scene where Rogue sacrifices himself to save Ruby. And we get that devastating final line that just says, "Find me," which to me hints to what we're all expecting of we're probably going to see Rogue again, which I would like, because I think he's made too significant an impact on the Doctor now for us to not see him again. I think he's too big of a character to not come back. And I think it would warrant a lot of the kind of romantic elements and the depth of the connection that we saw in this episode. I think it would be more justified if we saw him again and we could kind of explore that further. I think that's the perfect opportunity to do so. And yeah, I just love that scene in general where he throws the Doctor the flowers, and then the Doctor places them where Rogue gets sunk into the ground. I think that was really powerful. And we get that beautiful scene where Ruby hugs the Doctor at the end, because the Doctor is trying to move on so desperately, but you can just tell how much he's forcing it, and just trying to maintain his reputation. And Ruby kind of sees, no, I know this is you and this is how you cope, but wait a minute, I thought that was really powerful. I'm just loving the dynamic between them, to be honest. Their chemistry is so palpable. And I really like the kind of alien-human distinction that we're getting. That was, for me personally, I first started noticing it more in the last episode, where Ruby's kind of playing on these human aspects to get through to Lindy, and the Doctor's just very much telling it how it is, without any thought as to how a human might react to it, and I think that really came to the forefront in this episode, where we had the Doctor and Rogue kind of, running about the place and, solving the problem at hand, and we had Ruby mainly throughout the episode dealing with Emily, and kind of dealing with the romantic side of things and the more human side of things. I think that dynamic just really shows off A, their strengths as actors, and B, their characters, their main characters, to be honest, and their strongest traits in the story. I think the way they bounce off each other is really good. And again, credit to Millie and Ncuti, because with two lesser actors, I don't think it would be as noticeable. Obviously, Russell's a tremendous writer, but you need the actors to translate it on screen. And the casting has just been perfect for this series so far. It's really, brought every idea. They're just executing it perfectly. So yeah, for me, this was one of the weaker episodes of the series. I'd rank it above Space Babies, but less than possibly all the rest. But again, a solid 6 or 7 out of 10. Yeah, I'd love to know what you think. And oh my god, the Next Time trailer. Can we just talk about the Next Time trailer? I'm so excited for the 2-part finale. The way that I'm already obsessed with that scene where the TARDIS crashes into UNIT. We get the glimpses of Kate Lethbridge-Stewart, Mel, obviously she's back, Rose, we get to see Rose again. I'm really excited to see the dynamic between Rose and Ncuti. I think it's going to be sparkling. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. I just can't believe it's the beginning of the end already. We've absolutely flown through this series, which I think is a credit to the quality. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to every episode, but I can't believe it's almost over. It's going to be so tragic. Obviously, super intrigued to see where the Susan Twist story goes. She seems to play a much bigger role in this next episode. I don't think we're going to find out who she is yet, but I'm really intrigued to see the actress just have a bit more scope to show us what she's made of. Yeah, and to see where this arc is going to end up. That's really, really intriguing. But yeah, other than that, I'm just sad it's almost over, but excited for the undoubtful quality that we're going to be treated to. I cannot wait for that. And I cannot wait to speak to you about it. I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did. And I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll speak to you again very soon. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.